Hello and welcome to Sugar, Silk and Stretch, a unique boxing podcast brought to you exclusively by Ace Podcast Nation. You know what? I was expecting at least to have the Silk, Michael Alajide Jr. with me for this one. I see there's a load of you locked in straight away. That's about as many figures as I've seen jump straight in. Silk will be here and he will no doubt be rather full of himself as a Delphic source of pugilistic wisdom because he was the only one of us who picked Alexander Usyk to pull off that sensational historic victory last night. So I could have waited for him because he's obviously just about 5 minutes late. But I thought, fuck that. If he can't be on time, I'm going to start without him. He will be here. Rest assured, he will be here. So I'm almost conscious to delay any serious discussion until the Silk arrives. Danny Graham, how's it going, mate? As I say, Danny, you know Silk will be here. It's just that, see, I'm a stickler for professionalism. I'm trying to grow this channel and I'm trying to have us abide by certain protocols. And these guys, they think you just turn up if it says it starts at 9 o'clock UK time or 4 p.m. EST, I mean you log in 10 minutes early. I don't wait for your tawdry ass to join me on the show because we have enough fans now watching this show to create enough of an audience and a discussion if they don't even turn up at all. So, having said that, he will be here. He will be here. Listen, guys, I was so convinced after 7 rounds last night. I was utterly convinced that I'd called it right, that Gary Stretch had called it right, and that the Silk had called it wrong. He was starting. I had him even after 3 rounds, okay, and I did have a mixed situation. If I'd given 1 round to Fury, I'd given 1 round to Usyk, and I'd scored 1 round even of the first three. After that, I gave Fury 4 rounds on the spin. I gave him the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, and the seventh. And I did comment on Facebook at the time. Fury is starting to beat him up, and I was rehearsing things in my head to say to Michael Olajide, the Silk, in terms of something like sometimes size does matter and etc etc etc. And then Fury seemed to take the eighth round off somewhat and take the pressure off because he's starting to establish a really good range with his jab, and he kept throwing that kind of bolo type punch underneath to the body, and he was having success with it. Here he comes now. Here he comes now. So hold that thought. Let's get him on here. Okay. What up, Silk?
Hey, what's up, sugar?
I'm good, all the better for seeing your pretty face.
You're too kind, for sure. For sure.
And it's a little dark, by the way. I don't mean your face, I mean the lighting. It's a little dark. Can you, come on, light yourself up, man. Light yourself
Oh,
up.
you mean not like your mood?
Silk, you have nothing to be ashamed of talking in silhouette tonight. You should be bright, bold, and, listen, congratulations, Brother Silk. You
Thank you.
called it correctly.
Thank you.
Myself and Gary got it wrong. I was just explaining to the audience before you came in. Do you
Hmm.
know what, Silk? Honest to God,
Yeah.
I can't tell you. I was utterly convinced that you called it wrong after 7 rounds. I was just explaining. For
Uh-huh.
me, Fury had won 4 rounds on the spin from 4, 5, 6, and 7, and he was starting to tenderize him and beat him up. And it looked, and Usyk looked like the grain from a split sack was draining from him, and he was backing up, and he looking a little bit out of ideas, a little bit disconsolate.
Hmm.
Fury took the eighth round off, maybe. Then the ninth round, you know what happened? He battered him from pillar to post.
Uh-huh.
And then I was like, my goodness, you really cannot. It really is the theatre of the unexpected, as Dennis Rappaport likes to say.
Uh-huh.
After that, Silk, the 10th round, I actually think Fury got himself together just about. And as I recall, I scored it even. I scored the 11th to Usyk. And I actually thought Fury nicked the 12th. But long story short, I think the right man won.
Yeah.
And I think in your prediction, you didn't just say that Usyk would win. You said he'll have some sticky moments, which is fair enough. So credit where it's due to the victor go the spoils. Take it away.
Mhm. Thank you. Well, before I started, I just worked on a little ditty that
I,
I think
I
would.
I knew you'd have something for us. I knew you've been too quiet all day. You have been too quiet all day long, and I know that because you were waiting for the pièce de résistance. You thought, don't say nothing until the show. Go on.
Okay, so okay, I'm gonna do my best Ali-esque interpretation. I don't know whether to float or gloat, but after last night, you may consider me the GOAT. Usyk looked great entering the ring in that green gold coat. Yes, Fury came to win, but Usyk's answer was a resounding nope.
That was really good, and that,
That's
that was a
all
good
that.
Ali impression. It wasn't overdone. It wasn't too caricatured. It was really, that was good, Silk. And fair
Right there,
play
right?
to you. And I don't know if you saw my post, but I don't mind losing again. I don't mind being wrong because the better
Mhm.
part of me is very glad that Usyk won because he dispels a whole load of
Yes.
myths that I don't want to buy into. And if Fury had won, we'd never heard the last of the Montel Griffin Club. We'd never heard the end of them.
Oh my lord. Yeah,
So,
we did take care of that. That's for sure.
and also, do you remember on previous shows I said I'm nearly with you, Silk, but I'm not quite coming over. I
Yeah.
wasn't saying like Gary said, he's gonna batter him. You're gonna get the shock of your life. I
Mhm.
wasn't quite as vehement as Gary Stretch. I did
Okay.
say to you, I hear you, Silk, but nah, I'm not. And then after 7 rounds, like I say, I was rehearsing in my head things to say to you when I thought you got it wrong. After the seventh, I was like, here we go. What are you saying now, Silk?
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
in my head, but
It's very
you
interesting.
can. There you go. You can never say.
It was interesting because at that point when it started to get sticky, I mean, I expected that to happen, but when it starts happening, you could never believe it. You're like, oh my god, you know it's going to happen. You say it, you predict it, so that means you should be ready for it. But there's no
But you
being
still
ready.
feel. But it's good though, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
it's like but this little predictions thing that we have, and now we're nailing our colours to the mast every week. It's
Mhm.
like having money on it, isn't it? And it's more
Yeah,
than having
really.
money on it.
Yeah.
And does it make you enjoy the fights more? The experience is more emotional, probably.
There's nothing there. I don't know if there's very few things better. Maybe just like the birth of your child, and there's very few things better than being able to say "I told you so," right?
Yeah. And yeah, it's true.
And I have to say marriage, and that's it. That's it.
The best thing or ever, if as a boxer you tell people who say you're not going to win a certain fight, whoever it is,
Mhm.
however well known or not well known you are, and you win. That is the feeling. Obviously, that is the I told you all.
Yeah,
I'm the king of the
yeah,
world. That kind of
yeah.
moment.
Well, it's got very much like a man thing too, because fighting is I mean, aggression isn't inherently male, but physically fighting itself is done mostly by males anyway, in terms of averages, the physical fight. So it's almost like, well, you know it because you're predicting it, so you know fighting really well. So it's like this masculine pat on the back, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you say that because when you look at female boxing, we do have the bombast of a Clarissa Shields and stuff, but it is different, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
more the egos and the politics is different between
yeah,
women. The face-offs are
yeah,
different,
absolutely.
and it's
Yeah.
not the same energy.
No, it isn't. It doesn't feel as threatening to us as men. To other women, I'm sure it may be because it's intimidating. But if Clarissa Shields was standing in front of my face and telling me she's going to beat my ass, I wouldn't be considering anything. Actually, I'd kind of be.
No, of course not. It's
But if
it's
somebody like Mike Tyson or Usyk or somebody like
yeah.
someone even more maniacal was standing in front of my face, saying they're going to beat my ass, I'd be like, okay, I got to be prepared for this. You
Sean Graham says Silk hasn't met my wife, but there you go. So Silk, there's a couple of points of controversy
know?
with the fight. Because to be honest with you, I thought it was damn close, and I don't have an
Mm,
issue with the 1 point margins either way. I've seen some much
really?
wider ones, but not
Mhm.
for me. I feel that without the ninth round, without the disaster of ninth round, Fury doesn't lose that fight because it changed everything. The whole tide of it
Really?
as well.
Wow.
But I'm not seeking to contest the winner. What I will say is I do think it was a real close fight. It was one of those ones I thought, let me add up my scorecard. I didn't know what it was going to tell me.
So let me ask you. Let's go round by round. What did you have? You hit the first round. You gave to who?
The first round I gave to Usyk.
Okay, and the second round.
Second round, I believe I scored it even.
Wow.
Still feeling each other out. And
And if you couldn't say even, who would you have given it to?
if I had to push for it, I would, as I recall, I would have had to go for Usyk if someone said you're not allowed an even round. And
Okay.
then the third round I gave to Fury. The
Really?
fourth through seven I gave to Fury. The
Wow.
eighth round I gave to Usyk.
Yeah.
The ninth round I gave to Usyk by a 2 point margin.
Huh?
The 10th I came back with an even round. People are telling me I shouldn't score even rounds, and that
Yeah.
they're almost
And
they're frowned upon.
if you had to give a round to somebody, no even rounds.
That would, you know what? Once again, you say guns ahead. Usyk again. Usyk, yes.
Uh-huh.
But see,
Okay.
I don't want to distract. I understand what you're trying to establish. True, and to be honest, Silk, the biggest thing that people may differ with me on is I gave Fury the 12th. I thought he got it back together and won the 12th. I do.
Really?
Yes, and I also think some people might be score. I hate it when people say this, but I don't think all of Usyk's shots were landing and finding the target area. Not all of them, but he
No,
was
not
letting
all
Tab
of
go.
them. Yeah, not all of them, but not all of Fury's were either. I mean, it's kind
No.
of interesting. Look, from 1 to 3, I gave to Usyk.
Okay.
Round 4, I gave to Fury. Round 5 to Fury. Round 6. So at that point, halfway point, I had it
You
even.
had 3-3.
Yeah,
See, here's the thing, and I've seen loads of people say that, Silk. They said I had him level after 6. Richie Woodall, commentating for TNT Sports, said he had Fury 5-2 up after 7. I was more in that camp, but it wasn't. I didn't have that card, as I've explained to you.
yeah,
But I was closer to that than I was the dead level card, and
yeah.
that's what I was feeling after 7 rounds. I was like, you know what, Fury is starting to beat him up now. But then
How
it
much
did
do you
turn
think
around.
that's colored by what? How much of that vision do you think is colored by what you want to see and what is the reality? Just, I mean, you could be right, but I'm just saying, how
Well,
much do you
see,
think is what you
that
want?
that is a fair question, and this is one of those things. This is the casualty, perhaps, of picking things and having one's reputation versus your reputation, your ego, my ego, and Gary's ego on the line. And
Yeah,
I honestly thought I saw it from both of you in the watch along. You were seeing what you wanted to see, I felt, in the Zhang Parker fight to a degree. And you're saying maybe I was doing that. And you know what? Maybe I was doing that last night.
hmm yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's mighty big of you to admit that. I know I wouldn't.
Well, the thing is, what I want to do you know what, Silk? I'm actually burned out
Uh-huh.
with arguing all the time.
Yeah.
Certainly not just with you, although we argue quite a lot, because we never used to. And we actually said to make this show a bit sexier, we should disagree more. I can't even remember the time when that was the case, because now we disagree like cat and dog. But I'm getting a feeling a bit spiritually tired from arguing with people all the time, and I want to remind myself that we are brothers and we're
Yeah.
doing this thing together, which is
Yeah.
fantastic. I want to remember the person who was on Ring Magazine when I was a
Hey,
teenager,
listen,
thinking,
I
oh,
never,
not him again. You know what I mean?
yeah, no. Here's the thing. I never take offense. Like it's difficult to offend me. You could say the most
I know
disgusting.
you're very ice cool. I know you're
I'm
not
just, you know what I
you're
mean?
not
I'm
going to
like,
cry.
okay, and I see where you're coming from. And sometimes I am like that, and other times I'm not, and whatever. But that's how you justify me, that's how you do. I really don't take any personal offense to it. It takes a whole lot to get to me like that. So, you know what? I look at it as like, to me, this is something always done in fun. It's never an emotional thing. My happiness is never tied to another fighter's ability or
No.
happiness, success, whatever it is.
But do you see though that online so many people are so emotional about it?
Yeah,
Even good guys like Leroy Nicholas, who is a
yeah.
fantastic fella, and I'm doing a bit of work with him right now in
Mhm.
schools. But he's so every narrative he wants to see is all about how Fury's a complete wanker and Usyk is a prince among men. Look, Fury's bottle's gone when he was shouting before. No, it hadn't gone. His bottle had not gone. Fury is just foul mouthed and profane and egotistical.
And he's always been that way. I think you're muted. Are you muted? Do you mute yourself? I don't hear you. Hey, Gary, what's up? Stretch. I'm glad you could join us.
About time.
I was waiting specifically to say anything before, you know what I mean? But do you hear Ben?
No, it's mute.
Yeah, Ben, you're muted.
It's in my sign language.
Yeah. Yeah, this right here, Ben. Look. You, Ben, you. Oh, yeah. I think I'm gonna have to text him. Let's see.
He's working on it.
Okay. He is he?
Was you on Usyk last night?
Did you enjoy the fight?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where were you? Where did you watch it?
In Cannes, France.
Oh, nice.
At the
Nice.
festival. I left everyone and came home and put it on my own.
Let me see. Let me see if he can read this. Yeah, okay, so he signed up.
What did you think of the fight?
You're out in Cannes, you're enjoying the nice life, and then all of a sudden you had to come back. Hey, Ben, you there? Nope. We don't hear you.
It's great.
Yeah, we get more time. You don't have to hear.
What did you think of the fight? Come on. I know I lost.
Okay, so let's start from that perspective. You missed I had a nice Ali poem to start off the show. You weren't there
Oh,
for
let's hear it again. I'm sure they don't mind.
that. Yeah, it might be too late. I don't know.
There's only 4 viewers anyway.
Okay, you know what? I'll do
They're
it
all
again.
they're all deaf, dumb, and blind. That's why they watch us.
That's funny. Okay, so here we go. I don't know whether to float or gloat, but after last night, you may consider me the GOAT. Usyk looks great entering the ring in that green. Okay, do you hear me now? Yeah, Gary, I don't hear you either now. No, I just looked at mine. Okay, now I think I hear you.
Now you can hear me.
Now I can hear you, yeah.
He was halfway through it and he muted you, Ben.
I don't know if everyone wants to hear me do it a third time.
I'd like to. It's 3 times. It's 3 times the charm. Go on.
Times the charm? Okay, I'll try it again. There we go. I don't know whether to float or gloat, but after last night, you may consider me the GOAT. Usyk looked great entering the ring in that green and gold coat. Yes, Fury came to win, but Usyk's answer was a resounding no. Did you get that
How is
one?
it now? All good?
Right, now you're good.
So let's get one thing straight. Don't call me when the show's on because it fucks everything up. It
That's
mutes
why I
everything.
called you.
Yeah.
To get your attention.
Yeah. You can't
I'm
mute.
not on it. It's fucked anyway, so you needed it to be fucked.
Yeah. You can't mute me, otherwise it'd just be you two, and I don't need to tell you what a disaster that would be. No, it was good
When
the
you
time you
were
did it
up,
on
you
your
got
own.
another 100 viewers.
Yeah. They've all gone again. I see that. Yeah. So yeah, keep going, guys. I'll find my way into the conversation somehow.
No, so
Well-
we just went up. I had to recite my poem
I
again
wanted
for
his
Gary.
poem, yeah. You said it like the best actor ever. It was Muhammad Ali.
It was really good, wasn't it? It was like the older Ali, the older 30s
It was
Ali. It was good. It
beautifully
was good.
done, executed. The time and everything. I think he's in the wrong.
But
profession.
he's working. He's working on a. This is a very salient comment, by the way. He's working on a Muhammad Ali Broadway musical right now, which is. I wish I was out there still, Actually, I'd love to come and see what you're doing out there.
Yeah, it's really a lot of fun. Like there's so many talented individuals in the show, and Gary, you know how hard it is to like,
Sure.
you know, to act, to be somebody, and then to have to dance and recite lines and all the rest of those things at the same time.
And you're doing all that.
Oh no, not me. I'm just teaching them how to box and Ali specifics and choreography work and making sure, you know what I mean? And just making sure it's tight. We're trying to give a rendition to boxing that's never been seen on stage before. I think that's kind of like the goal. And so that's kind of like give people something different. It's kind of exciting. And the young man that's doing Ali look great. But anyway, let's get to the fight because this is what people want to talk about. It was a great championship fight last night. It was exciting. It was, you know what I mean? I was so into it. I watched every single round carefully and tried to score it. And Ben was just talking about his perception of how he thought it went. And he saw it a very close fight that could have went either way. What did you see, Gary?
I thought Fury could have won it. I thought I wouldn't fight if it was either way.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have minded a draw.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the one thing that does stand out was he should have been stopped
in the ninth round.
Yeah.
Listen, that's a big controversial point because people are saying, why did he get a standing count? But as you probably know, you fellas, it wasn't a standing count as such. The referee considered him down against the turnbuckle, so he administered a mandatory 8 count, basically saying Fury had been knocked down at that point. You know what I mean?
If the ropes are holding you up, that's considered a knockdown.
So I think the referee called it right, Silk. Do you?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't even understand that claim actually because he was bouncing from rope to rope, and he was getting hit. And it's at the referee's discretion anyway. It's like
Absolutely.
you can apply the 8 count at any point.
Would you like to have another look at it, guys?
I think I would have stopped it being the ref.
Let's have another look at it, guys, because this is filmed on
because
somebody's phone.
he stopped it when he was on the ropes getting hit.
Shall we have another look at it?
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
Okay, ready?
Yeah. Yeah, the ropes kept him up. It was an absolute knockdown. It was an absolute knockdown.
That was like a knockdown. Yeah, so you're correct, Ben.
Yeah, Johnny Depp. I imagine it's not the Johnny Depp. I'm guessing, although if he is, thanks for tuning in to us and welcome. Let's be honest, Usyk would have been stopped. That's the issue I've got. Politically, yeah, there are fighters who may have been stopped in the position Fury was in. That's something we have to contend with.
I don't understand that. What are you actually trying to say?
He's trying to say that if Usyk had been in that kind of trouble, then the referee would have jumped in. Politics and favoritism.
But it's irrelevant anyway, because that wasn't the reality. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just one person's. It's a guess. I think that it was called absolutely accurate. And you know what? You have to really give credit to Fury for being able to survive that moment, because a lot of fighters wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. And do you know what? Richie Wenton, a former guest on this show, you know what he said? This is the funny thing. In this day and age, you hear so many different versions of stuff. He said it was embarrassingly staged, and if you can't see that, you don't know boxing. He's trying to say it was a sham. And that's a man who fought Marco Antonio Barrera, and one of his opponents died in the ring. And he's saying it was staged. Isn't it madness, this boxing world?
Yeah. It really is. It is. So the social media gives you the ability to say anything you want, again, without repercussions, or even if you do, you don't care anyway. It gives you a global microphone, and people just say whatever they will, and there's always somebody that will say something absolutely contradictory to what you think or what.
And what I think we need to stop saying, Silk, and I will stop saying it. I'll make an effort. We need to stop saying, boxing people in general need to stop saying, if you don't agree with my rather controversial, outlandish point of view, then you don't know boxing. Yeah. Because we get people saying you don't know boxing if you think that wasn't a low shot, a low blow, Usyk Dubois. That one trainer said that. And I'm like, well, Michael Elijah knows boxing, and he doesn't think it was a low blow. So that's the end of the argument, isn't it? That's the end of his argument.
Yeah.
Regardless of who's right.
Yeah, I try not to. I don't know if I've used that term before. I try not to, because that if you can't prove your point by telling somebody you've never boxed before, so you don't, you know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. Why even have the argument with him, or why even discuss it? If you can't explain to him and be satisfied with what you say, and if he doesn't get it, then he doesn't get it. And what can you do? Move on. I'm not.
You're very good with that. You never like, well, you know what? I did this and did that, because people know what you did anyway. But I always hark back to that standoff you had with the historian author called Steve Compton. And he was saying he didn't think much of Pernell Whitaker. He think he's a little overrated. And you were like, what fucking planet are you on, bro? Politely. And he was saying, at some point you finally said, well, I do know a little of it because of X, Y, and Z. You had to go there a little bit. And he said, Michael Elijah, they stay in your lane. Just because you were a kind of vaguely decent middleweight contender, that doesn't make you an expert on fighters from the 1910s. Stay in your lane. Yeah, I remember that. That's all.
Yeah, and at the same time, he's never seen anyone fight from 1910, so how could he be an expert on that?
Well, he has seen people fight from 1910. He just hasn't seen the guy who wrote the book about it.
Yeah, he didn't have.
Nobody has.
Yeah, nobody's seen Harry Greb fight. So anyway, everything is up to someone else's opinion, whatever it is. But yeah, I mean, I think this is the perfect time, because we're kind of like in the headspace to learn right now. And some of the things that I've been talking to you, especially you, Ben, about before, and that was, again, while we're in headspace to learn, we're open because of the experience of Fury and Usyk itself. There is no height or reach advantage in boxing. There's a skill advantage when it comes to test, like with rules, competition with rules. There's a skill advantage like boxing. In wrestling, there would be a weight advantage because like moving 130 pounds is different than having to move 230 pounds. So there is a weight advantage there. But because boxing is a sport of striking, it's totally
Well,
different.
yeah, I mean, you've always contended that. The only thing, is it possible that there is such a thing as there can be a weight advantage and a size advantage, but some fighters are able to circumvent it, and especially Alexander Usyk did that last night. Yeah,
there's well, that's interesting. Let me ask you another thing then. I'll ask you both. What was the weight difference between those two fighters? Was it 30 pounds?
on the scales,
Yeah.
262 versus 223, so about 40 pounds.
About 40 pounds. Okay,
Uh-huh,
so let me cook here. That was like, so there was 40 pounds between Usyk and Fury. Is that any different from a junior welterweight versus a light heavyweight?
So is it different? Is it any different?
Yeah, what's the difference?
I think it's a bit different because the weight differentials doesn't matter so much when you already have an entry level of weight like a heavyweight, which is why the heavyweight division has been able to tolerate those gaps much more so.
But I don't understand that.
So why don't you put in that case?
Simply weight.
Why don't you put Gervonta Davis in with Artur Beterbiev then? Let's do it now.
I was gonna say, like, to that point, I'll tell you right now, if you put Tank in with a light heavyweight bereft of good skill,
of course, I know
he's
that.
going
Listen,
to knock that light heavyweight out every single time, and that proves to me
but Tank could not compete with elite light heavyweights.
Let me finish. So what I'm saying is, the weight isn't the advantage; it's the skill that's the advantage. It's not the weight.
But you get an elite fighter like Tank, who's like a light welter tops right now, against an elite light heavyweight, and he can't beat them because of the size, as long as they're elite. Right, Gary?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But let's not go down a rabbit hole on this.
I'll tell you what was, but this lends into Silk's argument, but I'll tell you what was shocking last night. There's three major things that, for me, affected the fight. The first was the smaller men took center stage and pushed Fury back. Shocking.
I was going to ask you if that surprised you, Gary, because some people were predicting he would do
that.
Come
on, I was a little guy bullying the big guy, but he did. The second time, then, the first round I give to Usyk. Fury got the measure, dominated, started to take control, and then just gave it away again. If he'd have stayed on if he'd have pushed Usyk back, started to dominate, stop fucking around, he must look today at the fight and think, what did I do? He had it in the bag, Fury, at one point.
He did. Listen, Gary, I was getting ready for our victory speeches, know, because he was tenderizing him like a steak in the seventh. Then I think the eighth round was maybe the watershed we didn't see. You remember Fury kept touching his nose?
From the beginning when he did his nose, it took him out of his stride for sure. It's that thing that gets you off the game. When he got hit in the nose early, it was at the start of an issue. Yeah. And it's just a discomfort that bleeds into everything. And he slowly got himself back into it, started to take control of the fight. And then what was incredible, it showed you, in essence, who wanted it the most. Usyk found another gear, found a way around it, found a way to come back, weathered the storm, and Fury gave it away. And then, but what was amazing for me was how the heavy, big men allowed the little guy to chase him all night instead of dominating him.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the skill advantage came in, because Usyk was highly skilled and he knew how to deflect shots, slip shots, counter shots, all those things that Tyson Fury had never really had to deal with before, especially from the defensive aspect. He'd never dealt with a complex defense like Usyk, and that's why I thought Usyk was going to win. Basically, because he knows when you're going to punch, he knows the punches that are coming at him, and he knows how to handle those punches when they come at him. And that's not something that Tyson Fury is used to. I mean, look, all the other guys are tough and they hit hard and all the rest of that kind of stuff. They're bigger, but if you can see a man's punch coming, it's so much easier to defend against.
I'll tell you what Usyk did too, which I think you'll understand, both of you, was he worked at a rate that put a lot of
Pressure.
silent pressure on Fury, expended energy. He made Fury work really hard all the time.
Yes.
Stepped in his face. He was in his face the whole time.
And that was definitely, he has this silent pressure that I think it's his feet, the way he moves. He puts you under such pressure all the time.
Yeah.
The other thing was that looping long left hand, like almost thrown like a bomb over the top, catching Fury every time.
Yeah.
What was fundamental for me was that, Fury got into his rhythm, got into the control of the fight. And then what was impressive for me is how Usyk got out of that situation and found another way to get around it and then got on top again. So I had to give all plaudits to Usyk and wow, great job.
Exactly that. He's a special fighter who makes that adjustment, who wanted it more, and just found the extra levels, that he needed on the
night. Being able to switch up your fight in the middle of a fight, being able to switch gears is so very few fighters can
It's
do.
the stuff of the great ones, exactly that.
So very few fighters could do that. Most people get on the track, and if they get taken off that track, they'll never find it again. And it's just a consistent beatdown, and that's what.
So he just freeze,
Gary. Start off really slow, and he'd establish the defense. For the first 4 rounds, he would do nothing, and then he'd find that track, and he'd stay on that track, and no one could derail him.
Yeah, exactly.
And what surprised me with Fury's corner
again?
What surprised me with Fury's corner is when Fury got into his rhythm and he started to control, he was very much on the front foot, pushing Usyk back, and he not allowing Usyk to do what he wanted to do. Like at least 70% of the control rounds, Fury was the aggressor, and then he just got on his back foot again, allowed Usyk to put him on the ropes, allowed him to push him back, and lost psychological and physical control of the fight. So I think he gave it away, Fury. Not that Usyk didn't make him. I think Usyk made him give it away.
It was a strange fight. I understand what you're saying, Gary. For 7 rounds, I thought we were sitting pretty. After that, something really extraordinary happened. To Usyk's credit, and but it was an odd fight. It was absorbing, and I think people want to see it again. Yes,
there was a second nose. The first nose shot took him out of his game for a while, Fury, and then he got back into it. And then there was a second one similar, which hurt the nose again, and it seemed to knock him sideways, like take him out of his stride, which just shows the mental. The mental importance when someone takes you off your game for a minute, or makes you have a little, not insecurity, but the nose thing definitely took Tyson out of his system, and he found it hard to get back.
1 second. Sorry, Silk was trying to get in and out there. There's a salient point that Jab Grab has landed that a lot of people have been commenting on today, saying that fucking John Fury needs getting rid of. The corner had too many voices in it. It did seem to be chaotic. And I mean, we've been talking about John Fury all week, Gary, saying that the whole situation will be vastly improved by his immediate absence. A lot of people seem to have that view. I don't know what your take on it is.
Well, I think he's becoming. It's the Tyson Fury show, not the John Fury show. And it's getting very convoluted and very. The water is too mixed. It's like I think it is. It's a bit too much right now. I don't know John Fury, but I've never had anything against him. But it's getting a bit old. You know what I mean?
All fighters, fathers fighters, that's old. It's tried. It's not even. There's nothing to it. There's not, because they have no repercussions. Nothing happens to them. They can't get smacked in the mouth. They don't fight each other. They don't fight the fighter. So why talk? You have nothing to say.
Do you know Joe Frazier said that once when Marvis got absolutely annihilated in a round by Larry Holmes in 1983? They said to him how the journalist said how did it feel, to upset him? Was it to see Marvis say, to be beaten like that? And Joe said, "Ain't nothing to me. I didn't take no shots." And he just, that was his response.
Your accent is impeccable. Your Fraser accent.
Well, we do Ali and Fraser, we got this thing going on.
Yeah. I just, in watching Usyk put it together. Like he came out, he established the fight right away. He laid down the gauntlet. He goes, "I'm here. I'm not running. I'm not doing any of that stuff." And I think that kind of, I don't know if Fury even had a fight plan. Like, what was his game plan? Because he didn't have anything. I think he just thought he was going to be too big for him. He really officially believed that he was too big for Usyk.
Well, I don't think Larry Holmes had a plan against Michael Spinks going into that first fight at all, because he just thought the same. He'd be too big, too strong. He didn't see how he could lose. But Fury was trying to box him. He was using his jab. He was using feints as he always does. He started to establish that, like say, the good pattern. Gary said after a while, he started pushing him back. He was trying uppercuts underneath, body shots. He was trying uppercuts up the middle as well. And at one point, he had Usyk temporarily on his heels and looking uncomfortable.
Then he was beating him up for a minute, and then all credit to Usyk's strength of mind. He just weathered it.
Yeah, just wasn't having it. Yeah,
wasn't having it. No resolve in him at all. He just wouldn't have it. He just came back and went stronger and stronger, and that's where I felt. I doubted him because of the Dubois fight, but then I kept saying to myself, how can you doubt a man with such a resume? He must have fought so many great fighters and beat them all somehow. He must have a great strength of mind. But I was very impressed with his commitment, his strength of mind, his unwavering desire to win, and the way in which he just went after it. And I think Fury, tomorrow, like when he woke up the next morning, must have thought, I could have won this had I done something different.
He'd be kicking himself, he'd be kicking himself for whatever it was that let Usyk in the 9th round, especially.
You know what was so amazing? I like how Usyk remained poised when he had Fury hurt. Now that's a lot of times when you hurt an opponent, and you'll see a lot of guys, they just gas out because they put everything into it. And if he would have done that, I believe Fury would have survived it anyway, and he would have come back and would have gave it to Usyk, and it would have been a worse beatdown. At that point, I would have been worried. But that's the intelligence of Usyk. Like, his fight intelligence is off the charts. He was like, he tried, he extended himself, but he didn't overextend himself, and that's one of the most important. And fighter, because when you have no defense, when you have no ability to stop the other guy punching at you, and you can't defend it, obviously that's it's a nightmare at that point.
And what was also very indicative of his whole nature and ethos was, afterwards in the interview, he said, I want to go to my room, I want to pray, I want to sleep, I want to kiss my wife. All of them just. Ricky Hatton was saying, I'm going to get on the Guinness and Dom Perignon. That's what he was saying, wasn't it, Gary? But afterwards, they showed some footage. There was another Ukrainian who won a world title last night in San Diego. His name's Miguel Berenchik. Beat Emmanuel Navarrete for the WBO lightweight title. And there was this footage of Usyk and his team in the hotel room, and all they had was like some fruit. They weren't eating junk food and pizza or burgers or anything. They're just eating fruit and stuff, and they've all got fruit laid out, and they're watching Berenchik. And when his countryman wins a world title, Usyk is dancing around. He looks more pleased about that than he does about winning the fight of the century, which is just really, you just like him even more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I saw him interviewed today, like the day after, and what a beautiful interview he did. I was glad he won, because he's a good man. I love Tyson Fury. I think he's been great for the game. He's give everything. He really has, whether people like him or not. I mean, even look at last night, the balls that Fury showed. He never. Most people would have just gone over. He never.
Yeah.
Incredible heart. You know what I mean? He does. Like, he doesn't know how to lose. But when my God, what an accomplishment for Usyk to come up the weight and dominate. He didn't dominate the fight, but he dominated stages of the fight. And
yes, he did.
My biggest surprise was that he looked like he was chasing Fury most of the night, which is insane. Sure, Fury for me should have took center ring, long stiff jab, pushed him back, and took it very seriously. Focus, power, strength, push him back. But he just, he let Usyk look like the bigger man, but he wasn't. It was a shocking performance for me. And again, like Silk said, what I found terrible was the corner. I kept hearing so many people talking. John Fury shouting over over the trainer. It was just like too much, you know.
I got to say, by the way, when Josh Denise says, guys, when Ali was pummeled by Foreman and then fired back, did it remind you of this? No, not at all. Ali was winning that fight. Ali was winning that fight going away.
Can I say something, Ben? I keep getting cut off, and I think you must have a detonation button or something. Like I don't.
What you're being like is one of those.
I don't get a chance to gloat at 100% because every time I start on my thing,
there's no skullduggery from me.
You kick me off the.
Especially when he did his Muhammad Ali monologue. When he got emotional, you cut him off.
I didn't cut anybody off. What happened was you were late and you fucked things up by phoning my iPhone 15 Pro Max, which I'm broadcasting from as well. And then ever since then, we've had technical issues. It's a stretch issue.
Do we have a commercial for that phone?
Yes, we're getting sponsored by them. I forgot to tell you. No, you're right. I shouldn't really mention it.
No, but I think there's some truth in Silk's accusation that you do carry him off at the critical.
I'm not. For God's sake, I'm not sabotaging him. I mean, it'd be, we couldn't get away with that in 2024. It would be too much of a hot potato to silence the Afro-Caribbean gentleman.
So, what was your
Caribbean? You come from the Caribbean. That ain't me. You're thinking of somebody else.
So, give me the list of give me the three things. 3 or 4 things last night that impressed you about Usyk.
Wow, his timing was impeccable, and I think that's one of the most important attributes in boxing. And that only comes from seeing so many punches come at you and knowing what to do when they do come at you. So I think his accuracy, his purpose. I mean, there were a couple of things I would have, if I were working with him, or at that point in the corner, I would say, try this or try that, like the left hand and coming over with the right at that point. Use the left as a distraction and then come over with the right hand as a power shot. It's sort of like a la Hagler, but without the jumping. You know what I mean? He could, you kind of like, you give him a distraction and come with that right, and he would definitely get to him.
Because you mean the other way around, right? You mean the other way? You're talking about Usyk, right?
I'm talking about Usyk. Yes, Usyk.
Yeah, southpaw.
Yeah, being right and left, not left and right. Hand and come back with the straight right. Yeah, and I think he would have got to. You're asking me what Usyk would have done. What I would have asked Usyk, right?
No, no, the things that impress you with Usyk. One was the timing, of course, the composure.
Yeah. His timing, the composure when it came back at him. He was able to, withstand what came back at him in the 4th, 5th, 6th round. The word was hit him to the body, and of course, Fury tried that. The whole thing was everyone was like, he must be weak to the body because of what happened with Dubois. So take it to his body, and
they thought it would go Joshua too. That's exactly. They thought evidence was there in the rematch.
Exactly. So you know what I mean. And yes, he may be tended to the body, but if you're going to go to his body, you're going to pay a price because you're leaving yourself open to go to his body. And he's very accurate. He's a very accurate counterpuncher. He initiates really nice. His timing and his reality, he's in the moment, man. He's not ahead and he's not behind. He's exactly there when he needs to be. And I think that's incredible. Not very many fighters can do that.
Yeah.
I wonder, do you think Fury can reverse this?
I think he can. I think he can. Whether he will or not, I don't. I'd have to really think about the pick next time. I mean, they seemed adamant, right, that they were going to go again in October, right? Both of them, they spoke in the immediate post-fight interview.
They seemed adamant immediately after, so like Fury did, but the morning after, he said, "I'm going to think about everything."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you know what? Do you know what Leroy Nicholas posted earlier on Facebook? He said Usyk has announced his retirement, which I can't find any corroboration for whatsoever. I think he's misreported that, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
but he was trying to suggest, because that was an interesting thing as well. Silk, Matt Christie, former editor of Boxing News, said that Usyk has done everything, and this is the perfect time to bow out. And you said poppycock. That everybody else on the whole thread said, yes, he's done it all, nothing to gain. Enjoy your gazillions, enjoy your family. You're 37. You've got an exemplary career. And the Silk was the only person who said poppycock. That's not boxing. Would you like to expand upon that?
I mean, there's really not much to expand upon. As a boxer, you're a part of.
Sparring isn't boxing. I get you.
You're part of the ecosystem. You know what I mean? It's like You eat and then you get eaten. That's all a part of it. That has
So
to be
you
the
like that better, don't you? You don't. You actually very primal kind of man, aren't you? You
yeah, I mean,
believe
come
in
on.
you believe
Yeah.
in kill and be killed, or kill or be killed.
Listen,
For all your relative sophistication, you're actually very primeval.
I'll tell you, the only thing that will keep Usyk in the game will be $100 million rematch, which is what he'll get. And it would be crazy not to do it for $100 million.
At what point? People always say, Gary, at what point have you got enough money?
I mean, he's made money, but he just made big money, and he'll make bigger money. So I don't think he's ever going to get another chance to make another 100 million after this to fight anyone. Maybe Joshua again, but I doubt it. It's been seen too many times. It would be hard to walk away if you're still kind of in your prime. 100 million, because it changes.
So we think we're going to see the rematch. Yeah, we do believe. If we have to say today,
it wouldn't. If it was for free, absolutely not. But if it's for 100 million plus, it would be crazy not to do it again for,
yeah.
Even if it were 50 million, there's no reason why you shouldn't take it, because it's a winnable fight for him. I believe it's an easier fight for him. I think Fury's problem is he fought the wrong fight. The fight that he should have been fighting is a physical fight. He should have been putting his body weight on this guy. He should not have been at mid-range and long range. This fight should have been at close range for him. And so they got it all wrong. He should have been stepping in from the opening bell, stepping towards Usyk and smothering his shots. That's where weight advantages lie. It does
what crap I heard earlier? You know the rubbish you get these days on social media. Someone said, "Oh, they said he was going to fight the Kronk style." Somebody said, whatever the hell that is.
Who said who's going to fight? Fury is going to fight the Kronk.
Yeah, of course, because he's hooked up with Sugar Hill Stewart, so that's where the Kronk branding comes in.
Yeah.
Somebody even said, "I can just see him stopping." Listen to this.
Reflex of those guys. He doesn't have, that's a reflex fighter. He's not.
And it's not a style. It was just a few prominent Kronk fighters. It's not a style. Listen, but somebody actually said he's going to stop him with some Kronk hooks to the body. What the fuck is a Kronk hook? While we're on it, anybody know?
You know what? I thought Tommy Hearns is like the king of Kronk, and he hits hard with every single thing, everything. But I did not feel his left uppercut hook to the body at all. I don't know.
You didn't feel it, no.
I did not feel it. The right hand I felt, the jab I felt. I mean, they're hell. They're hell.
So maybe you could do a video on how to block a Kronk hook.
To the body?
Yeah. Oh, I guess. Well, whatever a Kronk hook is, I'm still learning about this stuff.
Yeah. But, they did. It looked good because what they used to do, they had that left hand low and they lift it up into the ribs.
Yeah.
But I don't think like what Hilmer Kenty and Tommy Hearns tend to do was pull the uppercut back before it sunk in. So like when you throw an uppercut to the body, you try to punch through the body. It's different than throwing a fast combination. And what they did was they hit it and pull it back before it really sunk in. And that's what made it ineffective. You have to plant and stay there in order to have an effective uppercut left hook to the body. So
anybody have a view on Bugner? Justin E says Joe Bugner would have beat Fury. He wouldn't crack the top 10 in the 70s.
I make him right. Listen, I want to talk to you guys about the scores, the round scores, because you know what I mean? Okay, so 1 to 3, like I said, I had Usyk. Round 4, Fury. Round 5, Fury. Round 6, Fury. From there, from 7 to 12,
round 7, Fury. Definitely 7. Definitely 7.
And then from there, Usyk was a clean sweep. He just swept the board. I mean, it wasn't.
I gave Fury the last round. And I gave him a share of the 10th. We spoke about even rounds, and I take it on board that people seem they seem to be becoming outlawed by decree and by popular opinion lately. People are saying that judges are encouraged not to score even rounds anymore. They used to be perfectly valid. Maybe culturally they're being phased out. I don't know.
I don't know either. And it's funny when you're talking about Fury, and I'd always felt this way. I don't think against the 80s heavyweights or the 70s heavyweights, he doesn't make a dent in the division. I'm sorry. I don't think I'm not sure you get. I mean, does he beat John Ruiz? I don't know.
I think he probably does. Yeah, I think he probably does.
That's kind of a sticky one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does he beat? Does he beat Frank Bruno? What do you think?
He beats Frank Bruno. Absolutely. Yes, I think so, certainly. Frank Bruno had his limitations that Fury doesn't got. Fury is a winner. Frank Bruno was not the same level of a winner.
Fury is more of a freewheeler, right? Like
I don't know. I think we're giving a bit of a bad run. Like last night, by round, if you'd been talking about Fury by round 7, you'd have said, "What an incredible guy! He's just now beating Usyk up. He's took his number. He's unbelievable. This guy. No one could do that."
In fact, actually, Gary, my whole string cut off after the 7th, so that's all I saw. So can we call it from the 7th and just have done with it? Is that okay?
No, but at that point, he got the measure. He was hurting.
Yeah, you're right.
At one point, he got in the corner. He looked like a beat fighter.
I was rehearsing a gentle victory speech for him.
Yeah, and then Usyk had this incredible way of coming back, which is what I now have a great. I mean, I always had respect for him, but now how he turned it around and did what he did. He had a real couple of distressful rounds where he was getting beat up, and then he just was able to adjust, which is what makes him great.
Well, that's the fighting, right?
Sorry.
That's exactly what fighting's all about. Like
that's what Mayweather was so good. He could adapt, I
don't get this, by the way. Sid Bogle says if the fight was 15 rounds, you have Fury winning. Is he talking about Bruno? Bruno never went 15 rounds. Just want to make that point, sorry. Bruno never went 15 rounds in his life.
No, he's talking about Usyk, I think. The fight last night. If the fight went 15 rounds last night, I think probably the way it looked, I think Usyk probably would have knocked him out again. Tyson looked vulnerable. He looked vulnerable, which was the shocking thing, that the bigger man looked vulnerable then.
Yeah, and Fury looked like it was amazing for him to survive that round where he was really hurt, but he didn't show the desire, that the sense of the moment. Like fighters that are intelligent and that are great fighters, truly great fighters, they don't have to be told by their corner what they need to do in order to win the fight. He said, "Oh, my corner talked to me and told me,
they didn't tell me I needed a stoppage." He said, "Otherwise, I'd have got one." He's like, "Otherwise, I'd have got one."
That is not how great fighters operate. Not at all. All great fighters have a sense of the moment. They have absolutely an understanding of where the fight is going, the mood of the fight, the energy of the fight, the punches they take, and all the rest of that. If you don't know that, as a fighter, then you really don't know. You're not ready to fight big time.
You're right. Who the hell doesn't stop someone when he could have done if the corner had told him to?
100%. That's what I'm saying.
I would have beat Eubanks if they'd have told me to beat him.
Yeah, well, I was telling you to beat him. I was shouting at the TV, girl. My dad was rooting for Eubanks.
If you had heard, you better have done it, right?
Listen, I was fully blaming Angelo Dundee. I got out the ring. I was like, "Why didn't you tell me?"
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me he has a right hand like that? I don't believe it. Yeah.
No, I think the better man won, and I think the man who it looked like there was a very different feeling in the two fighters. Like you said, Ben, I think Usyk really was like wanted it so badly, so focused, so game plan. Like it was his life was on the night. Fury like went to work again. And he thought it was all laughing giggles.
Did you guys see that we seem to have given birth to a new black bottle controversy? Did you see all that nonsense about people accusing Usyk of inhaling someone in the corner? Did you not see that?
No.
There's a thing doing the rounds. There are videos doing the rounds, the conspiracy theorists saying that they were administering something to Usyk in the corner, particularly between the 8th and the 9th, when he suddenly got this incredible power and vigor and all this, but
the black bottle?
It wasn't a black bottle. I used that because of the Panama Lewis
prior
Alexis O'Brien reference.
The one I mixed?
But you know what it appeared to be?
Wow.
It was actually a crucifix that they gave him to kiss. Somebody had a towel on his cut, so they got the small white towel like this, and then somebody's putting something underneath that, which is actually apparently a crucifix, and it was part just to inspire him and keep him close to his belief system.
But that's illegal. You can't have anything in the corner but water.
What, you can't have a crucifix in the corner?
I'm playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can absolutely have a crucifix in the corner, and I don't understand what. I mean, yeah. Wow.
Do you see that? Some of our more committed fans are getting to the point. You know, when you really like something so much, you don't want it to end. Sean is saying, "I'm getting to the point where I know it's going to end soon." And I'm like, "No." He's talking about the show.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, so it's nice to actually have that effect because I know what it feels like to really enjoy a series or a drama or something, and you think, "Oh my God, this is nearly over." If we can have that effect on anybody, then that's a privilege.
Thank you, Ellen K. Bromson, as well. It's one of
Thank
Yeah,
you,
Ellen's
Alan.
loyal as hell.
Yeah, she's great. I where does Usyk go next with this? I'd like to see him fighting.
I think the money's a big factor because I think even for anybody, 100 million is life changing. Even when you've got 100 million, another 100's even.
Yeah, but
more.
why should we pay him that? I mean,
because that's what he's going to get. That's where we're at. So, but I think that, in an ideal world, if I was Usyk, I'd just retire now. But it will go again. I think of the two of them, the possibility or the danger of no rematch, I think is more on Fury's side. He could quit it after this. I think for the first time last night, I think the nose. I mean, having a broken nose, it's a very uncomfortable thing. I think for the first time last night, yeah, like you've been like when you get caught, almost knocked out, it doesn't hurt. I think he had discomfort last night with Usyk. I think he had a lot of discomfort, and I think I'm not sure he's used to that. You know, I think he got a bit of a wake up call. You know, so I don't know if he enjoyed it so much either. He's had his own way a lot of the time, so it was very interesting. But I think Fury, knowing the man he is, he'll have a few days off, a week off, and he'll want to get it back. I'm sure.
I think he will. I think it will inspire him. I think it will give him an extra longevity in his desire because he will think, I've never faced this in my professional career before. I've never lost. And I need to get it back. Because Fury was saying he thought he won, by the way. You guys noted that, obviously. He said that. And he got some stick for suggesting, as gracious as he generally was, he suggested that Usyk got it because of the sympathy for his country who are at war.
Listen, he may have never have lost, but he came exactly close to it on many occasions. And so he knows what it's like to lose. Come on, that's not.
Well, no. Until you actually have the other man's hand held up, you don't know what it's like. I don't believe.
No, I think he always finds a way, which is, that's why after a loss, often
he always finds a way. But the reality to himself, when he turns that light out at night, he knows what it's about. He knows what it is. He knows what his capacity is. He knows what his ability is. And he knows he's been close to losing, and he knows he's absolutely capable of losing. And that's why he prepares generally, as well as he does for his fights. But I don't understand that one thing, and it's like, why is everybody so afraid of losing? Go out on top. Don't go out as why you're leaving your cards on the table. I don't understand that. He's a fighter. Fighters fight. Yeah. Fighters fight. There is no halfway. If you lose your last fight or your last 3 fights, okay, so what?
I think you probably think that's more poetic and more fitting and more natural and organic. But one thing that people insert into the narrative is the idea you may get hurt. So they're usually non-boxers who say it too. They're usually writers. They're usually writers saying, you've got to think your health, your marbles still, your legacy, your time to walk away. You know what I mean?
You're going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt anyway. If you fight for a living, you're going to get hurt. Nobody's the same as when they were at the start. Even, you know what I mean? There's always something happening.
Ben, I'm going to go off for 1 minute. Do you want to close me and bring me back? Do that. But keep your eye out for me, yeah? I'm just going to do one other call. All right.
Okay, no worries. I'll see you in a second. I'll remove from the stage. Okay, see, the thing, you're like I am, Silk, or like I used to be, and you're encouraging me to think exactly that way again, because I always used to be like, never mind, no, it's all about honor, it's all about you versus me, we are cavemen, and, take the loss, go out on your shield, don't ever stop the fight, don't you ever stop the fight if I'm still breathing, don't you dare give me a standing count if I'm still standing. I was just exactly like you, that was my whole ethos, and I've probably gotten a little soft on that, to be honest with you, over the years. And now I tend to think, he should retire. He's wealthy and his legacy's untouchable. And why come along and have someone spoil that? But romantically, I'm more attracted to I'm more attracted to your kind of belief system. Actually, now you mention it.
I mean, he didn't do it for the wealth. I mean, he did it. He started boxing out of the love, and then money comes along as a part of it. I'm sure that's the fuel. Now you can support your family and do better for your country and all the rest of that kind of stuff. I understand that you mean something, so you become bigger than just fighting for yourself. But ultimately, that's it's always got to be.
And you know, Silk, that's the excuse people use for all these crap titles. And don't forget, they're gonna strip one of these guys. They're gonna strip Usyk of the IBF title in a couple of weeks anyway. And
Yeah.
Hrgovic and Dubois are gonna fight for it. You know, or they're gonna have an eliminator. And then Joshua's gonna fight the winner for that IBF title. So. Well, and the justification for that nonsense is, it allows fighters to make money, and long as fighters can make more money and retire healthy and happy with lots of money, then I'll always be okay with it. And I'm like, the hell with that. I'm not okay with it.
I mean, I don't know, fighters that I don't know of any fighters. I can't think of any fighters that get out the game. Like for that reason, for that purpose. I mean, I guess Marvin Hagler sort of did, but he'd been through so many wars already, and he understood he didn't have that same kind of love for it anymore. He couldn't pay the same price that he used to, so he knew,
and he knew that, and he didn't want to go through it again.
Yeah, so that's absolutely different. That's absolutely different. But to say when a guy still got the love and the energy for the sport, and you're saying, you should retire, and you just don't want to lose. That's like, no, that's not it. That's not life. That's not how it works.
Yeah, it's not reality. Well, Joseph Dobrian wrote an article for Ring Magazine once, and he wrote great articles in the 1980s for that publication. And one of them was he spoke about writing the last act, and he examined the last professional contests, the last bout of various fighters for this article, and he concluded it didn't matter whether they won or lost as long as it was fitting to their career and to their legacy and to the poetry of their story. And he said it was about writing the last act. That was what it was called, writing the last act. Yeah. And he was talking about Bo Jack, who got beat in his last fight, probably at Madison Square Garden, I believe. And he said, as the matchmaker came in, or the person who came in with his money, he said, did the people like it? And he said, yeah, they said it was a really good fight. And he said, that's okay. Long as the people like it, then I'm happy. And he was saying that's the ethos people should have, not this idea of, I'm gonna cash out and and jump ship.
And there is a passing of the torch, and there is when the young lion comes, and you can't deny the sport of that. When the young lion comes up and dethrones the more dominant lion that's been there for 10 years or whatever, it's the system, it's the cycle, it's the way it's got to work, and it makes sense at that point. Like, I beat him for this title. I beat the best fighter. I beat the one who's acknowledged the champ. I won, and now I am the champ. It's fair.
And yet, in recent years, we've seen people circumvent that process. I think of Joe Calzaghe, who wouldn't fight Carl Froch, and just Carl Froch was absolutely hungry for it as the young man, desperate to prove his worth. Calzaghe didn't fancy it, retired, and then identical situation several years later. Maybe 8 years later, you got Froch retiring rather than fight James DeGale, who wanted to make his name against Froch. Because they want to get out on top. Yeah, Rocky Marciano did it, obviously.
Yeah, Rocky Marciano did it, but I think that Rocky did it because he was tired of it. But I understand he was also going to come back, right? Wasn't that the rumor when he had the plane crash?
No, not at all. He wasn't coming back. What he was doing was he just filmed the computer fight with Ali.
Oh, that's all.
He wasn't coming back.
Yeah. But, so listen, if it's something that isn't in a fighter's heart, but only a fighter can do that. People can't say quit while you're on top. That's really my bone of contention. My bone of contention is that people can't tell a guy to stop early, and then if he doesn't stop and he loses, they say, well, you see that it doesn't. To me, that doesn't spoil a fighter's legacy. I see his ability. I see his talents and his ability when he was at his peak. And that's what I judge. What happened?
Well, do you know what? The only fighter I believe tore the arse out of his legacy to a point when he didn't ruin it, but he slightly dulled its brilliance was Roy Jones, because I think he got peeled off the canvas by average fighters too many times, to make a minor dent in a legacy, which is still wonderful anyway. Yes, but guys like Leonard and Duran, they didn't dent their legacy at all.
But when you realize the zenith, like when you realize his ability, and you look at his ability, and so I can forgive the end part as well, because that's probably has a lot of things to do with him. There's social reasons he did it, financial reasons he did it. I don't think he was thinking he was still that guy anymore. I think he probably had a purpose.
He knew he wasn't that guy, and he said, "How come guys like Magic Johnson and Larry Bird can still play, and they don't? They still get the accolades, even though they're not the same guys."
Because they're not necessarily, they're not getting physically abused, I think.
Plus the fact they're not holding this whole show on their own either.
They have help, and and it's a little bit of a softer landing, that's for sure.
Yeah, but
there are a couple. I know a lot of people sent in questions. I think we should at least dedicate like 5-10 minutes to answering some.
look, so I've been taking. Thing is, I've been taking care of that, and to be honest, a lot of them are just.
Oh, okay. Statement.
One thing I'll say, guys, is as you'll notice, I always put your comments up. Almost always, I put your comments up, so you're seeing that we're paying attention, reflecting them. But some of them, the conversation has kind of moved on. I try to insert them where I can. Let me see if there's any questions here. Fury will be at the tip at Morecambe tomorrow. Yes. Let me see if there's any questions in the last several comments, which might be something we could have a look at. Justin, he says, I don't think Fury goes through another camp for Usyk. He will hit the bag for a couple of weeks for the other guys, though, because that's all they do, especially Chisora. So he doesn't know whether Fury can make the commitment that's going to require to actually get ready to have a realistic chance of beating Usyk in a rematch.
I think he definitely pulled out all the stops in this camp. He had to have. You know what I mean? And I think he put out all the stops. I can't see, unless he had another trainer in there who had a different perspective of what he had to do. If Fury had a coach come in and say, I don't believe what you did was right, you need to do it like this, and Fury would have to obviously believe him and follow that, follow those instructions in order to develop. Like it could have been a much easier fight for him, but he didn't do the things that he needed to do to win that fight.
Sid Bogle has asked, should Fury go back to Ben Davison? I think people overrate certain situations. I don't mean the trainers are overrated, but there becomes a cult of the trainer. Like, he's reinvented Anthony Joshua. I see people saying, with Ben Davison training him, he can beat Usyk, Joshua. No, he can't. He was never going to beat Usyk. I don't believe. And Ben Davison ain't going to help him beat Usyk.
Fury's too far advanced to be changed by any trainer.
That's exactly it, Gary.
Well, sometimes he doesn't have to be changed. All he has to do is be complimented. There's just certain things, like certain habits, and we can learn habits. We learn habits our whole lives, right? It's just
I don't believe Fury's that guy. But I tell you what, I did hear one thing, Ben, which I don't agree. When I was off, I heard you say Calzaghe avoided Froch. I absolutely don't believe so whatsoever.
I didn't say avoided him. I said he didn't want to fight him. He did not want to fight him.
Well, that's not. Well, maybe because he didn't want to fight, but I don't. After Roy Jones and Hopkins, or even before, I think Calzaghe would have beat Froch every day.
I didn't say he wouldn't. Absolutely, he would have beat Froch.
And I think he knows that. I think he knows that too. So I don't think he avoided him.
He did not want to fight him. Froch was mad for it. He was calling him up and everything. And Joe was like, "Oh, it's all about the money. You know that."
I think he's at a different stage. It's like if
he was at a different stage. But what we were saying, the whole point is that is the way people look at things now. In the past, it was more the young lion would get that shot. Whereas now,
Froch fancy with everyone. He's that kind of guy. But I think it's like with Canelo now with Benavidez. I honestly, when you look at the career of Canelo and who he's fought and the stages that he's been on and the pressure, I know Benavidez is a dangerous, tough opponent, but I don't believe he's in any way. I think he's just doing what he wants to do right now, and I don't think he particularly likes Benavidez. I think what he does, he want to give him a payday.
I think you were perfectly summing up the culture change that I was seeking to refer to.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair.
I get it, Gary. I get it.
If I was in a position now to fight someone,
absolutely.
If I was in a position now to fight someone for 15 minutes, whatever, and Silk's fighting and someone else who I don't like, I don't want to fight Silk because he's my friend, but I say, I'd rather give Silk 50 million than this idiot. Let's fight Silk. We'll look after your life. I think Canelo's. He picked this kid to give him a career, give him a future. I think it's like, sure, maybe in an easier
fight.
Shouldn't
really be that way, should it? There should be more of a mandate
where you've got it's the path of least resistance. That's for sure.
Yeah, there should be a more gladiatorial setup where you don't have so much leeway thinking, I'll give this guy a shot.
And he certainly shouldn't be making those kinds of decisions.
I think when you've won the amount of belts that Canelo's won, the amount of weights that it's not even a belt anymore at stake. It's just to beat Canelo. No one cares for what belt anymore. It's just, can you beat Canelo? So, mandatory, and it doesn't affect Canelo anymore. He's just fighting bodies and names he wants to fight. Doesn't care about the belts.
I totally understand it. We're just talking about there is a relative difference in culture than there was 50 years ago, for instance. That's all.
Yeah, I think there's levels. So when you get to the superstardom level, now it becomes about picking off who you want to fight. The name, they don't care what belt. You've already got the belt in some other division or that one prior. So I think Canelo's just doing what he wants to do now, and they can say he avoided it. There's always going to be someone, right? Always going to be so. Now it's Ennis is the new one who's everyone's going to be avoiding, and the next one would be.
Well, he should be. Crawford should fight him if he calls himself the welterweight champion of the world. That's his next most logical challenger. But we don't play boxing that way anymore. We look for novelty fights and glamour fights, and
No, it's some money.
Yeah. But unfortunately, the audience has become very stupid. So that's why the money is shifted from the leading available credible contender that the hardcore want to see, based on this sideshow that most of the public want to tune into.
Because now the money is coming. The money now is coming from non-boxing fans. They've all been up to this YouTube. So the non-boxing fans don't appreciate what it is to win these belts. They just want novelty fights. So the whole money now is not coming from hardcore boxing. We all want the fights, but they don't care. They just want the events,
Yeah, sure. So, like I say, just talking about a culture change, I'm certainly not suggesting that Calzaghe ducked Froch per se, and I'm sure he would have beaten him if he'd have fought him. But that wasn't the point. I just want to make that clear. Question for you, Gary: could Fury improve his strength and conditioning more? It's funny how it's specifically for Gary, but go ahead.
Well, thank you, Sid.
He obviously thinks we don't know nothing about that, Silk.
Well, I appreciate Sid picking me. Thanks. He knows, obviously, I know a little bit more than you two. With the records of the fights, wins, and losses, I'm ahead, so he's picked the winner.
You are ahead. You are still ahead.
Yes.
What does his caption say this week, by
the way?
I'll tell you
the biggest thing the thing that will beat Fury and the thing that beat Fury last night is mental. And if Fury, he's got to the point where, and I think sometimes you read your own press or the madness, the circus is in. What Usyk did last night was the old Rocky cliche. When you're champion, you got to train like a challenger. And Usyk gave his soul to that fight. He didn't see the birth of his kids. He didn't do this. He just was it was his life on the line. Fury played at it a little bit last night. If Fury would have gone in mentally just 100% to win, focused, disciplined, game plan, he could have beat him. He went in just
is he ever focused and disciplined 100%? Because
I guess
his body would tell me no.
No, but I would say.
But he looked relatively good this time, right? He looked a lot leaner this time.
I would say that
your auntie.
I would say
he looked a bit like a relative of somebody's fat uncle. Yeah, good. Sorry.
No, I think that I think now, if he is to beat Usyk, the changes that need to be made, it's not going to be played by ear anymore. He's got to sit down, go to the drawing board. Get a bunch of smart people around him, like Silk says, change the habits you've learned, and say, right, this is it. This is the last hooray. Put it all on the line with focus, with discipline. Do the job, and then if he pulls it off, go into the sunset. If he thinks he's going to just do what he wants, get in and wing it again, Usyk just said that's not the way you beat me, my friend.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big thing. So whoever trains him, whoever gets involved with him. Get rid of everybody, get back in the mountains, dig deep, isolate, focus, do what you need to do. If you can do that, then you've had the best career ever and go off into the sunset because he's not getting any younger. And he is a little bit vulnerable now with the shots, everything that hits.
Punch resistance.
Anything that hits him, any relatively clean is hurting him right now.
Does seem to, doesn't it? I mean, you're being floored by Ngannou, the situation last night.
And all due respect, I know Usyk is a collective volume puncher, and I know he hits. Ask Tony Bellew, he caught him with a shot, almost killed him, but he's not noted as a big puncher in the heavyweight division, and he had the ability to hurt Tyson at will. every time he caught him, he was some distress. So he looked slightly vulnerable.
But Usyk is kind of like he's a distinctly I don't know. There's something about him. People say he can't punch, but he'll hurt you at least. He may not put a 10 count on you, but he will.
And he gained a lot of weight too, and it suited him. He had no fat on him.
He didn't gain weight, Gary. That was the misannouncement. They said he was 233. He wasn't. He was 223. He didn't gain weight.
So he was not big. He looked, because I was going to say, he looked very, very lean. If he'd gained the weight, you couldn't see it.
No, you know what it was? The border control stewards announced him as they read the weight as 223, and Michael Buffer got hold of it and said 233 pounds. He misannounced it.
Okay. Well, anyway, what amazed me with the fight is he looked like the dominant force in and Fury was running most of the night, which is shocking to me when you're 30, 40 pounds
Eddie
heavy.
Hearn predicted that, Eddie Hearn said, I see Usyk taking ring centre and Fury moving around. That's what he actually...
Well, I do have to say, I've never been more accurate in my calls than when they are against Tyson Fury. I mean...
Yeah, you seem to have the Indian sign over him, don't you?
I hope he doesn't retire because I've never been more right.
No, he's definitely a good style matchup for you.
I'll tell you what was interesting last night. The light heavyweight looked vulnerable, didn't he, Pataya?
Do you know what, Gary? I was thinking that. He's looked devastating against domestic opposition, Ellis Zorro and Jordan Thompson, and he'd been hailed as the next messiah in a lot of hip quarters.
Early survived.
He did the job last night, but that Bradis is one tough, savvy veteran, isn't he?
And if it'd been 15 rounds, there's only one win in that fight.
Do you know what I mean? So that was interesting, Gary. I thought he's been hailed as the next, the second coming of Christ in the cruiserweight division, and he didn't.
Big wake up call.
Was Christ ever a cruiserweight? Because that division needs.
He was, but they didn't call it cruiserweight back then. It was known as the Dreadnought division.
And don't cross him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he had a great right cross.
Oh, yeah, very good.
Can we do any more? Yeah, we must be able to do some more.
So what's going to happen now? What do you see is the future for? We talked about Tyson. Who do you think is there a potential future opponent for Usyk?
What you mean, except for Tyson?
Sorry, yeah,
you mean except for Fury?
I believe Usyk now can retire. But who else does he have to beat? No one.
No.
Everyone should fight now, other than Herbert, who is the weakest of the bunch for me. Everyone he's got to fight now. Somewhat of the people he's beat has already beat him, so there's no way he's done it. He's
Parker.
Yeah, but he's if he quits now, he quit on top. There's no one. He's avoided no one.
You know what I would really like to see? If of all the fights that are out there, I would like to see him do it with Joshua one more time.
I think Joshua beats him next time.
That's what
you actually think that, yeah? You do believe that?
I think so too.
I think so. I think Joshua. I think he's. I don't think it's Ben Davison. I think he's been great advantage, but I think Joshua. This is where you got to love him. I think Joshua puts the work in, and I think he's had a lot of scrutiny and a lot of this, and he's just put the work in. He's done everything right, and I think the results are being shown. And I think Ben, more so than trained Joshua, has cleared him out of all the madness, and got all the. This is the thing about trainers. When you go to a new trainer, these esteemed American trainers, it's amazing, but it's not amazing at that stage of your career to start thinking about new things, not being great at the things you're teaching them. So you're a little insecure and getting confused. Yeah. Now he knows what he can do. He's a pretty basic guy. Get all the rubbish out of your way. Do what you do. Get a little bit of your lead back and just go. And I think Ben has cleared the way for him to be the best him, and the best him beats most of them,
Yeah, I think so too.
So I think that, but right now, I think Usyk's not on the slide, but I think Usyk's about to tip the mountain. I think he tipped the mountain last night.
Well, he's 37 years old, isn't he?
I think last night, as much as he won in close fight, but I think it took a lot out of both of them last night.
Maybe so. Sid Boggle has asked, how did my 10 punches rounds 1 and 2 bet go? I've got to tell you, I didn't have it in the end, Sid. Can anybody check that, whether I would have won or not? It was 2-1. Fury to land 10 punches or more in rounds 1 and 2, both.
That's pretty specific. I don't like
But I was inspired by my Canelo bet. When I won on the Canelo Munguia, I got something like 7-2. And I got it on both fighters to land 125 plus punches and Canelo to win, which is much better odds than you get for just a Canelo win, you know. So
yeah, I only like bets where you can say "I told you so" to people.
Well, you can if you call the amount of punches, that's pretty good. I told you so.
It's the same as like actually beating somebody. It's like, okay, so the guy, you know what I mean? You got a
Do you know what? I've got an idea. I don't know whether you'll be up for it. You're probably you're in your comfort zone, so you probably won't be. But I suggest we actually have a bookie, a virtual bookie on here, and we actually have to make bets. Not he's going to win. We have to go method of victory or straight win, and we actually get a balance of money, and we actually play for real money, and then we see that'll be a game changer. Rather than just picking the right winner, you've got to pick the method of victory, or if you just want to pick the winner, you get your odds reflected, and we see who actually makes the most money. Because I could come right back into it with one big win then.
Well, but that means, I mean, we start with
that'd be more exciting.
We keep the same records we have, right?
You can keep what you want, but it will go to a monetary system, not a scoring system.
I'm happy if you want to just be called the champion now.
Yeah,
and then
we go to a money system.
No, and then go to a clean slate.
Yeah,
and start again. So I won the.
I think we should go.
I have the hold of one belt.
We got to round the number off. I think we should go to 20.
We'll go to 20, then we'll start again. But listen, do you guys like the idea of actually betting real money for proper odds? We'll have a bookmaker who comes on and takes our bets. Maybe we don't have to play for real money, but we'll play for virtual money.
I mean, if the fans want to put the money with each one of us, we can take money and we can try and make our fans rich. Then we will have loyal fans if I make them rich.
I'm fine with it. Is the dollar worth more?
The dollar
I think we'll get, me and you'll get more fans because we'll make some people rich and Ben will get sued.
Yeah. Yeah. That's probably what happened.
I like Sean B. I got Ben as moral victor for patience.
But what I'm saying is we could make it more interesting, and we could have to put our money more where our mouths are if we actually do more exact predictions than just getting the right winner, you know?
But as long as you don't put your house on it, Ben.
No, we heaven forbid, you know.
You are homeless. With the record right now, you're homeless.
Yeah. Cardboard City.
Let's take a moment right now before we all disappear go to our corners. Let's state what our records are anyway, Ben. What give us the reading.
You ready?
Yeah.
So Gary is 14-5. The Silk is 13-5. Over here, we've got 13-10.
How am I 14? I was 17-5 last week.
You're joking, right?
No, I thought it was 17-5.
No, you're 14-4 last week.
14-4, no, 14-5.
Yeah. So somebody get your phone out. It's in a WhatsApp group. The new chart. So
let me ask you. So you're telling me that what is Silk?
Silk is, I believe, is 14-5 now. Get the WhatsApp group out.
I'm 14-5. Okay, I'm looking through.
Yeah, Gary is, I think, 15-5.
Yeah, Gary's 15-5.
And I'm 13-10.
I'm 14-5, and you're
13-10.
And you're abominable right now.
Yeah, well, you know. Do you know?
You're borderline. You're borderline. Frank Warren's commentator. What's his name?
I don't know. Richie Woodall or something.
No. The little shrimp. What's his name? Who comments on boxing? Who's
Dev Sani.
No, last week I was 15-4. How am I 14-5 now?
You had probably.
I said you're 15-5. He's 14-5. You are 15-5. You are narrowly.
Okay.
I'm 14.
Narrowly ahead.
You're 13-10.
Yeah.
Do you mean Barry Jones? Is that?
I didn't hear
Barry
that.
Jones.
No, I didn't hear that, Gary.
The little Arabic guy. What's his name?
Dev Sani.
Dev Sani. Your borderline knowledge of Dev Sani.
It's not about knowledge. It's about the prediction. Listen, I had a girlfriend a little while ago who out
Oh, here
predicted
we
me every
go.
week. You know,
Here's that
she know more about
story.
boxing. She didn't know more about boxing. She's just getting lucky. You
So,
know, there are
well,
no geniuses here. You said Fury was going to batter him. You said he was going to get the shock of his life, and he was going to batter him. It was going to be a complete mismatch. So there are no geniuses here. There's an element of luck involved.
I don't think it's luck, although he was vehemently saying that Fury was going to win, but you know what I mean? He's allowed that. I think that 15-5, 14-5. Ben has had both the amounts of losses that both you and I had, Gary, Ben has on his own.
But do you know what I do? But I pick more fights, and also you have one more win than me. You have got one more win than me. He's got two more. Let that sink in. You want to do percentages? You want to do real money? Let's do real money. Let's do it
What
next
do you mean
time.
we got one more win?
He's got one more win than me. That's all. I've got 13 wins. He's got 14.
No, let's look at.
But you had more fight. You have had more fights than us to choose from.
I have, yeah. I've had more fights than you, so I'm more
How
experienced.
many losses have you got, Ben?
10.
10 losses.
Yeah.
So imagine Gary. Imagine you're going
How many wins, Ben?
13.
13.
But Gary, could you imagine if you were going
You got
into
15. He's got 14. So
Gary, you're going into a fight and they're making up the poster, right? And they said, okay, well, what's this guy's record? His record's 13-10. And who is he fighting? He's fighting the guy 15-5. You'd be like, this is a mismatch.
So that means that Ralph Tiger Jones couldn't fight because he had 5 losses on the spin before he beat Sugar Ray Robinson. Of course, you wouldn't even know that, would you?
Ben,
No. We're talking about Tiger. You're not Tiger. You had 10 losses, not 5.
If I make a comeback, Ben, you're a very attractive opponent.
Anytime, listen, Gary. Next time you're in London, all right. You all witness this. I want you all to see this. You witness Stretch call me out at the age he is now. Next time he's in London, we can move about. Nice, just take it nice and easy. Southpaw. Obviously, I deal with the Southpaw style. Who wants to see me and Gary spar when he comes to London next?
Tell you what, Ben.
I tell you what. How many rounds you doing? Because if it's one round, I'm going to go with Gary.
I was gonna. You should pipe down because you can't even box with that eye.
No, you know what? If I fought Ben, you know what Michael Buffer would say? Seconds out, first and last round.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get ready to stumble.
Let's say the proof of the pudding is that I've had this before I've had pros of note have thought they could show me a little lesson, and now it's gone the way it's gone. I'm cool with that.
Sugar.
Ben,
if I'm blind, you would not want to move with me blind.
Listen,
I would gladly take you up on that, Ben, with pleasure.
I got too much reverence for you in the middle there, so I ain't gonna throw a punch at you in Venom. Stretch, I got reverence for him, but I do think I could be capable of throwing a shot at him.
I'll tell you what I'll do with you. Tell you what we're talking about money.
Yeah, go on.
Every time you hit me, I'll give you a tenner.
Okay.
Every time I hit you, give me £1.
No problem. Honestly, Gary, seriously, it ain't going to be what you think. It's not going to be what you think.
Ben, trust me, if you couldn't do it back then, you can't do it now. Trust me. At least I could do it back then.
I really want to see this.
Okay, listen, I don't have to talk at
Ben,
all.
I've seen you on your mitts. I've seen you doing your train your kids. It's a different level. There's levels in this game.
All right. No problem.
I'll give you an example.
Okay.
Give you an example where there's levels, Ben. You can be distorted in your brain. Imagine what would happen if you fought Thomas Hearns.
Well,
Imagine, no, hear me out. Just to understand the levels of the game. Imagine how long you'd last with Tommy Hearns. Imagine how long you'd last with you, Ben. Just imagine what they would do to you, Ben, at your best. Now, not to say I won or Silk won, but the levels are competitive. That's the level. Now, you don't lose that level when you fight someone who's a different level. It's levels. So I say that with respect. But I know you train, you keep yourself in good shape, and you think you're quite sharp, and I respect that. But if you really want to have a round or two with me, I'll do it with pleasure.
No problem.
And you'll get a surprise of your life, not mine.
Okay, that's fine. Just like I say,
Hey,
I'd love to
it'd
do
be
it.
harder to fucking miss you than hit you.
Let's see.
I want to
Seriously,
be
let's see.
the promoter for that. When's it gonna,
Okay.
we got to make.
Listen,
I've
Chrissy
got someone
Morton.
else keeps calling me out. It's fine. I'll do it with pleasure.
Chrissy Morton is probably watching right now, and she does promote things. Like I say, there's I've done a couple of these things over the years. Georgie Smith do you remember Georgie Smith, Gary?
Ben.
Pretty good fighter.
Ben, I love you.
He's not answered the question. Do you remember Georgie Smith, who was Southern Area champion and won the English title? They called him Saint Georgie Smith. He was a
You've
contemporary
got a
of yours.
good memory, Ben, but after we spar, you won't know where you live.
All right.
Okay. We're gonna get to this. Don't do it without me. Don't let. Yeah.
No, don't worry. Maybe we should do it. We'll do it when we come to the States in September.
Yeah. You know what?
Yeah.
Bring it to Atlantic City.
Yeah,
I like
and Silk and ref it.
that. There you go. That's the
Okay.
one.
So we're gonna make a thing of this.
Silk
All right.
and Silk and stretch. Silk will ref. Sugar and stretch.
Yeah.
We'll do 3-3-minute rounds.
Sounds good. That sounds fair. Let's do it.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Shape, guys. Get ready. This is
All
gonna
right.
be amazing.
So is that a wrap? Is that a wrap?
No, I want to abuse you a bit more.
All right.
Train, guys.
Ben, I know. I look forward to the opportunity to share in the ring with you.
Yes. You know, you've got to be grateful for the opportunity when all's said and done. You know, at least you understand that.
I do, and I hope you get to the end of round one. It'd be great, a great victory for you.
Hey, Gary, go know that starting tomorrow morning, this man's going to be running like a demon. Just so you know that.
Trust me, I'm already running like a demon.
Yeah, he's already running. I don't blame him. But
no, you know what I have? I'm going for MRI when I get back to Bulgaria. I've got this injury. I'm training.
Yeah, the neck injury.
I got to go back because I'm training, but I'm having it still difficult doing this, and this is very no motion left or right. So I'm doing some weights now. Right shoulder difficult, like to do with this, and I can't, like if I'm driving, if I've got to look behind me, very different. So everything else is perfect except this and this. So if you hit me on the chin and my head spins, you might paralyze me, Ben, but it'd be worth it.
Thanks for laying that one on me.
No. Just me. He won't hit me, I promise.
Why don't we do this? No headshots, all body shots.
No.
I hate that. I hate that.
No.
I hate that.
No,
because that's what
I
they said.
absolutely want him to try his absolute best to do whatever he wants.
Yeah, all right. The thing is, I honestly think he is going to be a little bit surprised. I know, obviously, he's a veteran. He was a world-class guy. But
Ben, I'll tell you something. I'm honest to God. I know exactly what I need to do to you.
You, my friend, have seen a couple of seconds of me. But
no, it's okay, Ben. What will happen is, I'm going to say, and I'll say this publicly, and we'll film it.
Right.
What will happen is, this is what's going to happen exactly to the dot. And if I'm wrong, I'll pay you a lot of money. What's going to happen is you're going to get in. I'm going to move. I'm going to make you miss. You'll throw a jab, you'll miss. I'll throw another, you'll miss. I'll catch one, and then I'll hit you with a sharp jab right on the button here. Your little head will snap, and you'll shit yourself. What's going to come next? And then the next time I hit you with a straight left hand right hook, and you'll be snoring.
Yeah. See, he talks a good game, doesn't he? He talks a good game.
Ben, I promise you that's exactly the way it's going to go.
Well, like I say, it don't make any difference, does it, till we do it? Like,
it's tremendous, and you can wear your regular gloves that you go out when you're walking, and I'll wear.
I'm gonna wear 40-ounce gloves because I got the best chance of scoring a KO with those. I already learned that from.
You can wear 8-ounce if you want. I'll wear 16.
No, because 8-ounce are not as good for knockouts. Silk, you need the really massive gloves.
16s are good.
Yeah.
All right, then. I'll humbly accept your offer.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can make a thing of this. Let's say we can now.
Atlantic City. Atlantic City.
Yeah.
Atlantic City 2024.
Call. More like your call. A pound a ticket.
I'm going
Not
to get
my call,
Scully on
Gary.
it.
It's your
I'm
call.
going to get Scully on it, and we'll learn to charge a ticket, and we'll give the money to Wilfredo Benitez.
Wilfredo, yeah, exactly that.
McClellan. Gerald
Yeah.
McClellan.
hmm
There we go.
Right. Yeah. We could have an additional money if people pay per stitch I put in your face.
That's always another good angle. Yeah. See, the thing is, this is.
Oh, how many teeth you lose?
Did Britain ever have a civil war? That's what I want to know. Because
There's nothing civil about what's going to happen. No, in all seriousness, I'm not saying, obviously, I'm not saying I'm going to do. He's saying he's going to do this, that, and the other. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I wouldn't embarrass myself. That's all.
What are you going to do, Ben? What are you going to do?
Huh?
You've already called me out, Ben, so you obviously fancy something. So it's
yeah,
fine.
I can handle myself. We're older guys. You've boxed at a level that I never went anywhere near, but I've got enough confidence in myself at this stage of the game, and I'm not just imagining it. It's something I've had experiences before, and I've been in the ring with pros before, like Harold Graham and Georgie Smith and things like that. Your Wadi Camacho. So all I'm saying is I don't believe it'll be some absolute uncharted territory. Like, oh my God, this is a complete nightmare. I would never, disrespect your record and levels, which are.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do, and this is honest. That before I'm joking to everyone, just taking the piss out of it. But I tell you what I would do. What will happen? I promise you, in my mind, you won't touch me ever. You won't catch me, and I'll just hurt.
I know why you're saying that. I would say that to someone I didn't know what they were about.
I just don't believe you'll touch me, and I'll stand right in front of you. You won't touch me, and I'll just hit you with a few little sharp jabs that'll knock your head back a bit. I'm not going to try and hurt you, Ben.
That's what you say to someone. I know that's what you say to someone who hasn't boxed, and you're like, "Come on, kid, I'll do that." I get it.
No, I respect your knowledge and everything, but I don't. I've been in with thousands of people who can't hit me, great fighters who can't hit me. I don't think it's going to change overnight.
Can I ask you? All right, sure, that's cool. But can I ask you when the last time you sparred was?
Probably about 5 years ago. A little bit. To help a friend out. To help a friend out, and I was in pretty good shape physically. And
yes.
I went in with a friend who was going to have a fight, and completely just played with him. He was not an experienced fighter, not your experience, but he can fight a little bit. But no, it was like I was falling asleep. But no, it's I understand what you think, and that's fine. So we'll see.
Okay, that's cool. So on that note, thanks for. There's a little bit of an unexpected turn of events this evening, guys. We've been on for 1 hour.
Wait for this, mate. Can't wait.
This is going to be amazing.
I get it. Listen,
this is the most polite calling I've ever experienced in my life.
I just wanted to say something so publicly. No matter what happens, I never called him out. He called me out, right?
Yeah, how did
we get to this point? I don't even remember.
Call me out. You blatantly for no reason called me out. That was what you did.
For no reason. No, I'm sure you were digging me out. But...
Rewind and you'll see you called me out, and that was it. So it's fine. It's good.
One of you two start.
What's that saying? Don't. Sometimes you get what you ask for. What is it? Don't
be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for. Yeah.
So
that's what they say.
I'm happy to acknowledge you and let you get
it. Gary, I know how it started. Gary, how it started was he wanted to challenge moi first, I think. He's like, you got no eyes, blah, blah, blah.
No, I didn't say I said that's why you weren't in the equation.
My friend, I'll be a hero after this. In defense of my friend, who not only did you want to take his monologue away, you wanted to fight him with one eye.
What I don't want to take his monologue away for? What
took his monologue because he was very good. He had timing. He had poise. He had timing. His voice was beautiful. Everyone started to really listen. You cut him off.
Yeah, you kept freezing my picture.
Kept freezing you, and then we started talking about. I'd like to fight you, and he said, "Michael, you got to fight Southpaw."
I'm actually getting texts. I've got a WhatsApp group. Sorry, not a WhatsApp group. I'm getting a WhatsApp message from the lovely Lois, who's a female boxer. She says, "What's going on your show, Ben?" She's obviously watching it now. But like I say, I mean, talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. Although, having said that, that's kind of what we do on a podcast. Otherwise, there won't be much point. So, guys, we thank you for tuning in. I'm assuming my two co-anchors have nothing else to say, but they don't know how to get out of this particular scenario. So I'll do it for them. We hope you enjoyed this evening's show, which mostly consisted of the breakdown of Fury versus Usyk. We shall see what the future holds. Keep supporting us. The engagement's getting great. I'm really glad that we have such a small but dedicated fan base. Keep it growing. Spread the word. Sugar, Silk, and Stretch. Best box players in the world.
And just before you hang up, I'd like everyone to take a good look at Ben's face and remember it.
Yeah. What? Because what? Because you're going to ruin this perfectly, otherwise flawlessly, non-pugilistically shaped
We have
visage.
to talk about the Richard Dunn like lantern jaw, which gives a lot of opportunity for Gary to do his thing.
Gary doesn't exactly have the smallest of jaws.
The what?
Huh?
I don't have a big jaw.
You have a manly jawline. No, it's not a bad thing.
I don't really have a jawline like yours.
Well, that's what I mean. Great show, says Hamza. Salute. King Charles lost by KO. Literally lost his head. Yeah. I think if we don't stop soon, we're just going to be here forever, just like chewing the fat and exchanging this kind of smack talk. So,
all right, what we should do is we should ask the fans all to give their predictions of the 3-minute rounds. What's going to happen in detail?
The more you say it, you know what, Stretch. The more you say it, I think this should be an evening, and it should be in a ring with a spotlight and an MC. We can actually make this a thing for a cause, like Michael said. We're going to waste this in a gym.
You're going to spend all the money we make on hospital bills.
Yeah.
And then
put the lantern back.
I am only playing, Ben. I'm happy to oblige you no matter what. I'll pick up the glove. You threw down the gauntlet and you got it.
It will be fun, like I say, it will be fun. And I know what you think, but that's
No,
Ben, it's dare to dream.
You know what? Right now, we should have said goodbye, but I can see Ben's got that nervous twitch. He's gonna get. I'm telling you,
ready.
Yeah, he's getting ready right now. And
the alarm clock on for 5 already.
Do you know what? Though, let me tell you something. Before we come on tonight, I'd already resolved I need to start my row book again and get back in a healthy routine because I let it slip the last few weeks. So now you're going to think, if I'm running, if I'm filming on Facebook, doing that kind of thing people do, where they in their story they show they're out jogging, you guys are going to think I'm running for him now.
No, you are. You come on.
So now I can't.
You're bitter, angry. You're bitter, angry, resentful, and you want any little thing I have, you want to take it from me. I won't allow it, Ben.
No, you can't allow it. That's the law of the jungle. That's the way it works.
If you want it, you can have it. Anyway, slice it up any way you want it. If you want to stand in the middle and have a fight, we'll do it. If you want to box, we'll box. You want to pull a fucking knife, I'll cut you. Anyway you want it, anyway you fucking want it, you can have it. No, it'd be a laugh, Ben. It'd be fun.
Yeah, here you go. Exactly. I'm down. Like I say, it ain't uncharted territory for me. But although I guess it is to a degree, but you know what I mean. Okay, are we going to Silk? Do you want to close the show? Because I keep trying and I'm not pulling it off.
No, please, one more time. The third time's the charm.
Guys, thank you as always for tuning in to us. We truly appreciate you. We'll be back next Friday. I don't know if we'll all be here in our glory or some kind of juxtaposition of the two. I'll be out running, training. I'm just going to download all that Southpaw information. Silk reckons I need to throw the left hook. Other people say it's a straight right hand. I just think all I got to do is show up. Listen.
Because you challenged me, Silk's going to train me for this.
Silk's going to train you, which,
Because you first wanted him, so me and him are going against you. So it's Sugar versus Silk and Stretch.
It's going to be a hard camp with Silk. He's very demanding. I know that.
I got my boy. He'll train me and we'll execute you. Don't worry.
Guys, peace out. Thanks for tuning in. We're probably going to talk to these two lunatics backstage a little bit before, but you guys are gone.